I gave everyone a little bit of a longer intro today. You know what? Welcome back to Into the 99, where we've got 99 cards, because, believe it or not, Commander is number one. And I, today, am joined with the boys. I've got both Sherman and Slothy with me. Sherman, how you doing today?
Not bad. I think I'm getting sick again.
Oh, it's the worst, right? As soon as the weather...
It is what it is, though.
As soon as the weather gets nice, yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I was just talking to you guys about it. I have been obsessively recording music again. It's like all I've been doing with every waking minute I have. So I'm almost done. By the time I'm done this episode, I'll go back. I'll get into editing, and I'll have recorded my 60th song in like a month and a half. It's been very fun to work on. So I've been doing that, and just been slammed with work and stuff. I've got some time off. We're doing for everyone who's on Patreon. I was talking as well. I'm going to be setting up probably a night or two a month where we're doing spell table games. So I'm going to be reworking like my studio and everything to have room for spell table stuff, and ideally, hopefully have one of you guys over too as well to play. A nice 2-player spell table setup could be kind of fun. Get drunk with the lads, play some games, get beat by everyone because I have no instants in decks. Other than that, I've just been project heavy. So I'm in a delightful mood. And Slothy, how are you doing?
Not too bad. It was busy week. Found out I'm going to different site on Monday, so been kind of frantically preparing for that. And yeah, that's really about it. Just kind of going through things.
They're taking you to a farm upstate?
Yeah, I'm being sent to the farm.
Slothy, no. No, that's not bad and stuff. So a new big project to work on.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad everyone's kind of doing good. We wanted to do this episode a while back, and then Slothy kind of cracked himself in the head, his noggin, and then it was spoiler season because Win said not spoiler season. But I like to sometimes yap with the boys, and Sherman had a very good idea for an episode. So Sherman, I'll let you take away what we're talking about today, and then let's get right into it.
Yeah. So we decided to talk about like tips or things that made you a better player overall. So each of us were supposed to try to come up with 3 tips or ideas that we have personally done to improve our how to play and whatnot, or our play styles and all that jazz. Daniel has thoughtfully came up with a few more extras just in case we overlapped. So hopefully we don't overlap, but you never know, it could happen. But
right.
That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. It's I feel like every player at some point, no matter what experience level they're at, has had that like aha moment of like, I get it, like I understand something now. Maybe it's how trample works, right? Maybe you just didn't get how trample was working, and now you finally understand it, and you're like, yes, now I get it. Maybe it's rules interaction, right? But yeah, I just I'm interested to hear what it is that made you guys better players and stuff like that, and maybe I can take some advice from it. So, do you want to start us off, Sherman?
Yeah. So, like, I figure, like, I'll do like one in Slothy and you, and like we just do a round robin.
Sure.
All right. Cool. So, my first one, you guys could probably guessed it. It's what I keep on talking about. We've dedicated an episode to this. It's building a jank deck, because when you build a jank deck, you get desperate for certain things. Okay. So, for example, early on in my book Tribal, okay, I was desperate for mana rocks. And I got so desperate that I put in the card Tomb of the Guild Pack. Okay. So Tomb of Guild Pack is a 5 CMC mana rock that taps for any color and lets you draw a card for casting a multicolored spell. I'm in mono blue. I am that desperate for mana rocks, okay, or some sort of mana acceleration. So when you play something that's janky, alright, you kind of discover, hey, there's a reason why you need mana rocks. There's a reason why you need a certain amount of card draw. There's a reason why you need certain interactions and all that stuff. And like that's why you go off of like a lot of people are asking for templates. Like Thunder has a article kind of 8x8 system, and like it's wonderful for that if you need templates and whatnot. Building a jank deck is really hard to build around templates, so I tend not to personally because of that. But it is very, very helpful, and it lets you find out why it's so good. So
1 second, I'm just going to pull that up.
That's my first tip.
Just quickly going to pull that up. It is a really cool article. If you guys have not ever checked out any of the articles, Thunder writes really cool articles. This one's all the way back from 2023. It's the ultimate guide to EDH strategy is that 8x8 design, and it's Thunder's like walkthrough of how you get through cards and stuff. It's a very, very cool article. If you guys have never checked the articles out, Thunder writes a lot of very, very thoughtful, huge articles. So yeah. Also, good morning, Thunder. Thunder's in the chat here. But yeah, it's
He just joined us.
Yes, Thunder's with us from beyond. But yeah, no, there's it's very, very cool to be able to play on a budget. Kind of like you said, it makes you go at things a different route. Anyone can toss into every deck. I understand, like, oh yeah, you can run your big bads, your Crater Hoofs, your Smothering Ties, your quote unquote game changers. They're good cards. They're gonna slot into everything, right? Like I understand. Like I don't avoid building with Rhystic Study because I have like some vendetta or something to prove against it. I just get bored seeing the same cards, right? It's such a huge game. It's such a different thing, and playing on a budget really does. You have to, every piece has to matter a little more. You have to become more thoughtful of your deck building and of the ways to get to it, right? I do totally agree. I've been a good player at Magic for a long time. I've kind of always been the table bully, but a lot of that for a long time was based on just an overwhelming collection. I had more cards than everyone. I had the older cards. I've just always kind of had access to things a lot of people didn't, and in my old deck building style it was really, really evident, and I was able to just balls to the wall every game, right? I was able to just go. That's how I met Sherman. I met Sherman playing like a $7,000 or $8,000 Muldrotha deck where I'm looping Lionized Diamonds and stuff, right? And like Sherman said, he's playing a book tribal, but I've undoubtedly gotten better at Magic, and especially like the have more fun as well, just playing the silly decks that I've been building lately. I really, really like just stuffing dumb little rocks in it, like the diamonds and everything. It's if you've never tried to play on a budget or silly theme deck, you should, because it's a great way to reset. Like not only like Sherman said, it's a nice way to make your evening like it's a good way to make your evening fun, is what I'm going to say. Like yes, it makes you play better. Yes, it makes you consider deck building and understanding the importance of things, but it's just fun. It's a nice way to reset the evening. Some games get a little salty sometimes, it's hard to be in a bad mood when you're deliberately just playing silly stuff,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the building jank and all that, it's a really, really nice way I found for finding those cards that might on paper be a little bit weaker than those staples like the Rhystic Studies or the Crater Hoofs, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn things that can do like two things at once, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like for example, there's much better card draw spells than. Sorry, this was also very similar to one of mine. But something like a Corrupted Conviction in a graveyard deck, you're not just getting that card draw, you're getting stuff into the graveyard as well, sort of thing. So you kind of learn those nice little 1-2 punches.
Yeah, you pick up a few tricks here and there. You learn to focus more on synergy than like just good stuff decks, stuff like that, right? So, but like overall, it does make you more creative, and you start to see certain cards that are on a field, and you're just like, okay, like, can I use that to my advantage? Can I not? Is it problematic? Is it not? And like you really start gaining a better understanding of the game due to it, and more importantly, you gain a better understanding of your deck. Because this is part of one of my pet peeves. Actually, it's just like when you play against someone, and let's say they tutor for something, and they don't know what to tutor. It's just like, well, like you should know, it is your deck, right? Like if it's a brand new deck and you've only played it like a handful of times, okay, I can get past that, right? But if if I see you playing the same deck, for the 20th time, you should know your lines. You should know what to grab. You should know what to help you in the situation, right? You shouldn't be mulling over it for 10 minutes trying to decide which card to get. It's just a pet peeve of mine. But anyways, we're going way off topic because of me.
I like it. Is it me right now, or you?
Slothy, either or.
Yeah, either you or me.
You go ahead, Slothy.
Sure. One that I found really, really helped in terms of a general understanding of the game and kind of what each thing does is try different color combinations. Nice and simple. It'll teach you kind of what everything's doing. It'll kind of get you out of a box you might subconsciously put yourself in, kind of like I did myself, where I was like, okay, everything is going to feature this color, this color, this color. But if you're trying out something else, you might realize, hey, I really like this. And yeah, that's kind of something I've done a complete 180 on in the last since I joined here, actually. So thank you, Dan.
I do get people to try random weird things. When you try a different style as well, it's so different. Like if you listen to the show, you hear how I build decks, like as an example, right? I really, really like to build just straight gasoline. I've got a theme and I have a caveman brain. I got one brain cell, and that's the theme we're going on, right? So a lot of times, it's very easy to look at my deck building style and be like, this is singular. But I do play different decks very, very differently. Like if I was to play one of Sherman's decks, I can't as wildly threaten the table because Sherman isn't the person always playing the threats. Sherman is the person answering threats. That's a very, very different way of playing a game. You know what I mean? Like you can't just threaten everyone if all you're holding is answers, right? You gotta. So it's I like the idea of trying out new styles and new things. It is really easy for most people to get into a habit of, I'm a green player. I put green into every deck. I got to splash it, right? If I want to play some instants, well, now we're Simic, right? If I want to draw more and hurt people, now we're Is It, and now I'm a blue player, right? And a lot of people don't really. Brian's a really good example of this. Brian doesn't really like spell slinging kind of decks, right? I've seen Brian try a few different Is It decks and everything, and it's never been the play style for him. But he does try them, and he does kind of get a bit of a better understanding of them and everything, right? Just because you want to try something doesn't mean it's going to be your new bread and butter. But I think a lot of us, some people are just kind of stuck to random games. I do understand that, but lots of us have a play group and stuff. And sometimes you can just say like, hey, can I try that deck? Do you mind if I try this? Can I try your investigate deck? I see you always having a good time with it and stuff. I was thinking maybe it'd be fun. Can I give it a try? And a lot of times people are going to let you, they're going to work with it, or they're going to help you build something like that. And I love when my friends try my silly things, right?
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of sort of in the Calgary event, not last year, but the year before. I played Brian's Selvala Angels deck quite a lot and really, really enjoyed that.
That's cool. Well, and that's not normally your style, right? Enchantment heavy angels.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but it was definitely a nice refresher.
Yeah, I like that. I'll jump into mine here. My first and my most important one is it's one that's not a surefire thing, right? You're never gonna have this is gonna work every time, but I believe a lot of players skip doing this. When you start your game, you're presented pretty much with nothing but these are the faces I'm playing and these are the commanders. It's very, very hard to look at a deck and say okay, well, what is this deck gonna do? There's some commanders that are straightforward and stuff like that. You understand an Atraxa deck is going to put counters, right? That you don't know if it's going to be loyalty counters kind of things. But in your first few turns of any game, I find the most important tip for me is you need to decide in your head what you believe that player is playing, and you need to play your game plan against that, because not every deck can beat I've got a great example. I love playing Rigo. Rigo's super, super fun. I can't beat a life gain deck with Rigo. I can't whittle people away with my 4 or 5 damage a turn or 20 damage a turn. If someone's just constantly gaining life, I don't have an answer in a Rigo deck, right? It's a small weenies kind of deck. It's got some infect stuff sometimes, but if Sherman counters that and Sherman's playing like if Sherman has a counter spell and I don't get my Triumph of the Hordes off, I don't really have a path to beating a life gain deck with my White Weenies deck, right? So you have to know kind of, number one, with your own decks, the thing that I find the best is, what is this deck good at beating? What is this deck going to lose to, right? Am I going to lose to a flooded board because I'm not personally, right? I don't run a ton of board wipes. So if I see somebody's going board wipe heavy, I have to kill that player first. I have to interact with that player. I have to hurt their mana, set them behind, destroy their soul ring, whatever it is that I can do in my deck. I have to decide those things kind of in the first few turns, because like if a lot of people don't run enchantment removal, and I see it a lot of times, again, using Brian as an example, right? If you're not running enchantment removal against Brian and you leave Brian alone for too many turns, a lot of times Brian just has an enchantment board you can't get through anymore. It's a lot of indestructible things. It's a lot of things that have kind of not locked things down. Like Dean's a lockdown player, right? And the same thing. If you know you're getting locked down, you got to sometimes swing at Dean. But you have to just understand what your deck can and cannot do. There's some problems that your own building can't solve, and you have to treat that player like they're the threat. It's unfortunate sometimes to play that way, but I get treated that way a lot of times. Sherman knows how I build, so Sherman knows to not leave me alone. If I'm playing a creature-heavy deck and I'm whining that I only have 2 creatures on the board, Sherman doesn't care. He understands what's going to happen if he leaves those creatures alone. You killed my copy of the commander and stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to do with it, right? So you have to know what kind of players you can beat and what kind of archetypes you can and can't beat with a deck, because that's the thing I like the most about Magic. There's not a single deck that exists that can beat every other deck, right? Especially in Commander, there's so many. You see it at CEDH, right? There is no one list to just rule them all against everything. You're playing against 3 other people, all with like random cards in their decks, all with random draws in an enormous card pool, right? There's no one size fits all answer. You can make your decks a little more consistent. You can do a lot of cool things, but you just have to, in my opinion, have that while you're building, especially in your first few games of testing. Like, what am I losing to? Like, am I going to get outpaced? Am I going to get outramped? And what is the archetype that I just can't, like, there's, again, like I said, there's some decks that I know I can't beat. But everyone runs Sycra, for example, right? And if I'm running a creature heavy deck and everything like that, I have to always threat assess around someone's going to have a Sycra, because if you're not a creature heavy deck and you're playing these big spells, you're not as put behind by being reset. Whereas if all I've been doing is pumping out 5 creatures a turn, I'm Scoot Swarming and I've got like 50 Scoot Swarms out. Sometimes that delay and that like trying to be nice is what loses you the game, right? You have to know what kind of player you have to beat. I dirtle a lot. Sherman kills me a lot.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. You need to learn to, like, people need to learn to threat assess before the game even starts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like you said, like, you know, what is the commander doing? What colors are good against you? Which ones aren't? So, like, once again, if you're an enchantment heavy deck, you're not too worried about a Rakdos player destroying your enchantments, right? Mm-hmm. But if someone's playing Selesnya, you know, like green and white, they're loaded with board wipes and enchantment removal, things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, they're going to be more problematic. So you got to work either to attack them and destroy them quickly, or becomes friends with them and then backstab them later.
Yeah. Well, it's like you were saying.
One of us can win.
Like you were saying there too, right? It just comes with a little bit of that understanding of the color pie. Like, your deck's got blue, you likely are going to, as an average player, probably have a little interaction with it and stuff like that, right? You've got white, okay, you're probably packing some powerful board wipes and resets. You probably have like some abilities to kill, like, especially in a green white, like you said, right? You're full of like your naturalizes, your disenchants, like you're removal heavy in those colors, right? The same with like an Orzhov. I know that you can kill permanents. I know that you can like kill creatures very easy. I know you're exile heavy, right? And there's some things that I maybe have to bait out, like a Void Rend or like Anguished Unmaking, because I don't want I don't want to lose the thing, right? And I don't have to play that way. Like if you're playing like Simic, I don't have to bait that removal once it's on the board. If you're empty, then I can get it out, right? Very, very different play styles and paths, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So, all right. That's a good one. I like that one. All right. My next one is very similar to what we've already mentioned. Okay. And that's basically playing a deck you don't like or playing a type you don't like. Right. Now, there's a bunch of reasons for it. Okay. The biggest one is, first off, if you're having problems playing against a certain like type of deck and you don't know like what the best answers or how to get around certain things, make it yourself and let others do the work for you. Let them figure out how to
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
yeah, like answer the cards that you're throwing out or board wipes and everything. Like let them do the research because they will see it and they're like, I hate that deck. Okay, well, good luck going against it. What are you gonna do? You know, now you're getting answers. Now you're seeing how other people interact because everyone interacts differently when it comes to certain situations, right? So it's
Mhm.
just one of those ways where you can figure out how a weakness is for certain deck types. And at the same time, you can build it because you know what works. So it's an easy build for you. You know, you're like, okay, like I normally have a problem with this, so let's throw this in, and this mixes with this, throw this in, and all that stuff, and you just go nuts, right? So it's an easy build for you. You may not like it, but you don't have to play for that long. Play for like, like a few months, learn what people do against it. If they have no answers, then hey, you know what? This might be your new favorite deck because it never loses. But chances are you will lose. People will find ways around it, even if it means all three people team up to go against you. That's also a good sign because it means that you know you have a really strong deck and like it's really hard to find answers. But when they do have answers, hey, now you add that to your arsenal and to your knowledge, and when you face a deck like that again, it's like, okay, well, you talk to the rest of your group, like, okay, this is what's happening. This is how we beat it. Okay, are you guys in?
Yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah.
you're kind of crowdsourcing problem solving, right? Exactly like you said. You're
Yeah.
seeing like I talk all the time in spoilers, right? I think this card sucks, and pretty much with every one of them, like I didn't like any of the Doctor Who stuff, for example, right? But Slothy
Mhm.
has relentlessly showed me how cool the Doctor Who stuff can be with like his salt and pepper shaker decks, with his like 14, like I've just seen so many cool deck styles. Like the only thing that I've ever been wrong about is Kellen. There, you can't make a fun Kellen deck, but other than that, like you guys get it. But like I see people build much more clever things than me, right? I'm only one person, and like I say all the time, I'm one person firing with one brain cell a lot of times when I'm deck building. So yeah, seeing another way like that, I sometimes just give a deck to Sherman. I say like, I'd like to see how you would build this, right? Because a lot of times it's a totally different path than what I would do. But like outsourcing your problem solving of like, well, how are other people going to beat this, right? It's a very fun way to look at getting into problem solving of like, okay, well, I'm always losing to spell slingers. Let me make a spell slinger and see how other people come at me. What are they doing? What am I losing to with it? And then be like, oh, I need to do a little more of that, be it a little bit of removal. Maybe you put in, again, some resource denial and you start blowing up people's colored land because I think that's funny.
yeah,
It's not mass land destruction if it's targeted.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I do it repeatedly, it's still not mass land destruction. Still technically one spell. No game changer bracket 2. You gotta
destroy
believe me.
your land. Just destroy your lands at the same time. Call it that.
Yeah. I like that idea. The ability to assess. It's a very different way of like assessing. It's problem assessing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, no, I like that. And again, you can build pretty much I would say one of the core tenets of this show is the ability to build pretty much anything on a budget. Build a budget spell slinger if you need to, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 Like once again, you know what works and what doesn't work, and that's the key factor, right? So if you go through and it's like, okay, like I know what works, I'm gonna choose this commander. You can like, and that's the thing. Like, I know if you have a play group, most people are like, oh, I don't want to build this commander because someone else already has it in the group. You know what? Build it anyways. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So, and like, no one, in the end, no one really cares. Like, I don't know about you guys in my play group, my main play group, we had that problem for a long time. And then when Fallout came, we're just like, who cares? Because there's like 3 or 4 of us that had Mothman decks.
Yeah.
After that, we're just like, we don't care. So like now we have like 2 Maha decks. You know, there's like 3 Caesar decks. Like we really don't care anymore, right? But that was something that we had to get past too. So
the only time I've had that issue, I endlessly build decks. But when Yarok came out, our friend Matt in Calgary here, Matt's Yarok deck was just built perfect. It's I've seen it on the thing. I couldn't think of a better way to have built that deck. It was like built to the ideal standards of what a deck could be like, short of switching out like some dual lands for. It was just a perfectly built deck, and I couldn't think of a creative way to build anything other than how good that deck was. Like after I was like, so that's one of the only ones, right? And normally I play like a totally different archetype of a commander, like Sherman's Scry Galadriel and my Scry Galadriel, very different decks, right? But like, just that one was perfect. Matt, I got to give Matt credit for that one. That's such a perfect one. I'm sure there's a bunch of videos of me getting walloped by it. What do you got for us, Slothy?
Slothy, you want to take it away with the second one?
Sure. The next one that I've got is Goldfish your decks. Run and play test a few hands, try to see what board state you can get, see how long it takes for you to kind of, in an ideal world where you're not getting interacted with, see how long it takes to get your stuff going. It's a great way of seeing, at least I find, what you've got too much of, what you have too little of, what you find, even in just that, finding those cards that sit in your hand and you're not really eager to play. There, you already know you can probably cut it, and that helps you find out your land count, your creatures, see if your curve's accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a massive fan of just after I build a deck, sitting down for half an hour or so and just running through the first 5 or 6 turns, and then restarting and kind of seeing what opening hands I get, and yeah.
I like that. I tend to Goldfish a lot on just the like Architects Goldfish kind of thing, but it is really helpful to shuffle up and deal yourself out a few hands too, right?
Yeah.
Kind of see a little bit more. One of the nice things is as Arena expands more, you can kind of, with at least the newer cards, kind of play some of the versions with Brawl and see a little bit how things are. I know it's a lot of hoops to jump through to get that like extra piece, but it is nice to be able to kind of play test around with some of that. I hope one day all of the cards come to Arena in like a way that we can like meaningfully play like Commander or one-on-one Commander with it that doesn't cost us $70,000 to get a collection into. You know, like I would like that, but it's being able to Goldfish and seeing like sometimes you have a great idea and it just doesn't work out. You draw 17 hands and you're like, this is too expensive. This is too expensive. Slothy runs criminally low land counts in some decks, right? So sometimes Goldfishing it is a good way to see that maybe.
It's hilarious you said that, because I've got a deck open on my computer right now that has 29 lands.
Yeah, I understand. I know what kind of a man you are.
Because the average mana value is like 1.4.
So you're playing elves?
No, this is Ketis Dargo Pauper.
That's fair. I like it.
Ollie.
Yeah, it's like I said, we all run some pretty low land counts. I'm pretty stern on the Church of 33 lands there, but it's
I can't do that.
It's my religious beliefs.
I can't do that.
Yeah, but again,
the lowest for me is 34. I'm sorry, that's the lowest I can go. I'll go like 34 to 36, sometimes 38 if it's a landfall deck, but I cannot do 33. That's too small.
I might hit 35 if I'm playing a landfall deck and using all of the sleeves in a Dragon Shield pack. No, it's I'm pretty much always 33, 2-to-1 ratio, no matter the mana curve. Playing 6 cost angels in mono white, 33 lands it is.
See, you'll get there when you get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's about the journey.
Exactly.
It's not always about efficiency. My second one that I would have to say is politics. And I'm sure all of us kind of in some form or another wanted to talk politics. I think that's the best path to getting better at EDH because at the end of the day, yes, we're all trying to play Magic, but if you want to just win, like play like competitive, play like Pioneer, play, you know what I mean? Magic, especially in Commander, at least for me and for most people, I think, but for me, I want to play with my buddies. I want to know what's been going on with their week. I want to know what they've been doing. This is just a nice format to get together to have those weekly conversations. I don't want to set out to make my friends upset. I don't want to like set out to, you know what I mean? Like to leave mad and angry. And I can't believe it. Like especially if you see on the Reddits, every third post is, am I wrong about this interaction? Someone was being so mean and stuff, right? Like a lot of it comes down to people not having the skills to talk through like I didn't like that game. It was a little higher powered than I thought. Do you have something that could bring it down? Because I don't have anything that can go up, right? The politics is just kind of the core of talking with your play group and with other people and stuff, right? If you can't have those conversations with your play group, you're never going to be able to have those conversations with a random pod, right? If you go out to a convention, it's never going to work out well if you're unwilling. If you can't talk with your buddies, how are you going to talk with strangers, right? You gotta find a way to have fun, to joke around. And again, everyone politics in very, very different ways. I threaten everyone. I threaten everyone. I'm like the tariff threats right now. It's just like, well, Slothy played this and I'm like, I'm coming at you. And Sherman's like, I play a brainstorm to draw. I'm like, how dare you? How dare you? I'm coming at you now too. It's I'm throwing them at everyone. So it's different styles have to do it. But if I just did that in a mean way and people didn't know me and like they thought I was actually mad at them, that would probably make an uncomfortable game if they're like, whoa, calm down, right? Politics are the core of EDH, the best way around. Like again, it's ways to problem solve, it's ways to make friends, it's ways to make fun, and you can get around a lot of things that your deck can't win against with a good political stance, right? A good deal making, a good like, okay, well, I lose to deals that I make sometimes. I say like, you know what, leave my creature alone. I will not touch your commander. And then suddenly their commander's a problem, but I've made a deal that I will not touch it. And sometimes I'm asking, I'm like, hey, can we go back on that deal? And they're like, no, we'll leave it alone. And then I'm like trying to make side deals. I'm like, Slothy, please kill his commander and stuff. I said I wouldn't. I never said that I wouldn't deal in the shadows.
Yeah, it's true. Like politics is a part of the game. Whether you like it or not, it really is part of the game. And you know, you can use it to your advantage. Like like let's say, for example, you're bad at threat assessing. Okay, you don't know how to threat assess that well, or like your threat assessment is really poor. A way to get around that is like asking the board, like, hey, okay, guys, like I feel this one card that Daniel has is a problem. Is anyone else having that same feeling or not? Okay, and reasons why. Okay, this tells the board, or this tells the table two things. One, what you're afraid of, who you're afraid of in a slight sense, and two, whether you have removal or not. So, and if you have removal, people tend to leave you alone a little bit more, or they try to bait it out of you, right? But either way, you're just like announcing to the table, hey guys, I basically have this removal, or I want to have something removed. You know, if I remove this, like, what are the consequences, right? And then the person that has that, let's say the creature, of course they don't want it removed. They're like, yo man, like, what did I do to you? I haven't touched you the whole game. I left you alone the whole game, right? You know? And like you start to negotiate, and you know, it just goes from there, right? So you can either make allies or enemies that way. You learn from what other people are saying, like if it is a threat or not. And let's say it is a problem for you, but you know, like if I'm looking at a creature and Daniel has it, I'm like, Daniel, it's hurting me. And Daniel can be like, okay, if you don't remove it, I will find a way to like point the damage to someone else, or like you can take some lumps and everything, but I promise I will help you out with this other thing that is hurting you, in my opinion, even more.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
sometimes it can be as simple as
it is something that
I was going to say, like, sometimes it can be as simple as let me hit you with it once. And it's not coming your way again after. I've got a 1 with nature on it. I need to ramp. I'm sorry. Please leave it alone, and it won't come at you again. Just this one time. I know you're afraid of it. I'm not going to get you, or you know what? I won't commander damage you out of the game. Just leave my commander alone. Let me get my 1 swing in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, for example, like I had a Rhea deck where like you choose a creature, it deals no combat damage, and instead you create a bunch of like toxic mites.
Oh, I love that deck.
Right? So that one, a lot of politics, right? But you need to have it where it's like, okay, Slothy, let me swing in at you. I know it looks scary because it's like it can do like 5 or 6 damage. I promise you, it will not do any damage to you. I just want the mites. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't let it through, I will make this deal with someone else, and those mites are going to come after you. Right now, we can be friends. Okay, you let me swing in. I create my mites. My mites can't block, so you can still swing in at me. But
Mm-hmm.
they will not come after you. If you don't agree, I'll go to like, hey Daniel, guess what? You're my new best friend.
Yeah, we're buddies now.
Let's talk here. Let me swing away. These mites that I will produce, they will not come after you. They're going to go after someone that has wronged me. Hi, Slothy. How's it going?
Another nice thing that you said, it's something I've actually never even really consciously realized I do. But when you said it, I realized that it's something I do in the politics. That when you talk like that, right? When you say, hey, like, I think this is a problem. Like, what does the board think, right? It's kind of like, in a sense, it's kind of like a dog growling. I now know what Sherman is going to, you keep putting your hand by a dog that's growling, it's going to eventually bite you, right? And if Sherman's afraid of this thing, I'm like, ooh, well, I better not kind of do this stuff, or I better be a little wary of that, because like, if he's threatened by this, like I was planning on doing something way crazier 2 turns from now, and ooh, maybe I gotta relax a little bit, knowing that he's got some counter magic, or he's running. Sherman's known to run removal and interaction, right? So maybe it's time to just chill it out a little bit, or start making that friends. Like I said, politics to me, it really, really does like improve the game. The game would be so boring if we all just sat listening to like music and no one talked. Yeah, okay. I thought I saw that too. The lights going out. Jeez, I thought I was having this. I thought I was ending. I was ending this episode early. If you guys know what I mean. Oh no. But yeah, like politics. If everyone just kind of played with themselves, it's not a super fun game, right? Like it's honestly the thing I don't like about Arena is I can't talk to people. All I can do is get frustrated when they spam your go, your go, your go. Right? So like it's it is really, really nice to use that as another form of threat assessment. I'm very, very bad at the part Sherman just said of like talking to the table about a threat. If I'm threatened, then I'm coming at it. If I got removal and I don't like a piece you have, it's gone. It's gone, and you can't take it back.
It's really fun to like it like if you have a problem doing politics, build a deck that is all about politics.
The
and
Democracy
you'll
Sphinx.
see how useful it can be. Sorry, what did you say, Daniel?
I said the Democracy Sphinx, the voting Tivit deck.
So my latest deck is my group hug deck, which isn't really a group hug deck. Okay, it was a deck Splitter of Seconds where you get the multiple upkeeps. But I have two ways of group hug. One is where I go around and I call it attacks, where I have a bunch of cards where during my upkeep we either draw more cards or create treasures of something. But I go like, okay, Slothy, it's your turn to take the 2 hits or the 3 damage that we all benefit. Then the next turn, Daniel, it's your turn, right? So going around and getting that. But the more fun political way I play the deck is where I have like a wall of shadows or a wall of vapors or a wall a fog bank or something where I can take damage, and I'll put in the curses on myself. So curse of verbosity or something like that, where you attack me, everyone draws a card, or you attack me, when you attack me, you draw a card and I draw a card. If you attack me, you get a zombie, I get a zombie, things like that, right? So I'd be like, hey, Slothy, all you have to do is attack me. You have a blood artist. Come on, let it have some fun. It can attack me. You get a card, I get a card. You get a zombie, I get a zombie. We both benefit from this, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you attack me, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes to Daniel, like, hey, Daniel, I got a deal for you. If you attack me, I can block with this wall of shadows. I take no damage, your creature still lives. You get a draw card, I get a draw card. And as a bonus, you get a zombie, and I get a zombie. Slothy's already got a zombie. Are you going to let him outrace you on the board state? No, you're not going to do that. Hence, you might as well attack me. You attack me, you get your card draw, I get a card draw too, and that card might help you in the long run. But at the same time, like I said, add a bonus for a limited deal while supplies last. You attack me, you get a zombie, I get a zombie. And we all rejoice.
I love playing the game like that, where you've got to like present like a pseudo like to a jury argument. It's just like, ladies and gentlemen of the table, please let me come to you today. Sherman is an overwhelming threat, and I am a simple man who needs to draw some cards. I can remove something, but someone has to please just let me hit this and stuff. And now I understand that you're coming at me today saying I only have 20 life left. I get that. I feel for you. However, you know what I mean? I love to play like games where you have to do that and stuff. The way you were talking, it makes me think of I have two decks of similar theme. One is Kenrith and one is Pramicon, and both of them are like based on like the Kenrith deck is named this way, but it's just we will be having fun, and it's just a group police like, and like it's half removal, half group hug things, and it's just like fun will be had for everyone. I do really like to build obviously if you can't tell by me throwing Howling Mine at everything, I like to group hug party a little bit. I'll admit that I'm not above it. I like to build a deck that makes you talk to the table, right? And I say that in a lot of our deck techs, this deck will make you talk to the table. You'll have to have those. Pramicon is a deck. You can't play Pramicon without discussing with your friends, because then you're just playing stacks Pramicon and everyone's going to kill you. You're going to die. It's going to happen, right? You gotta, when you're playing like Sherman's Rhea deck, for example, I've got a Rhea deck the same way. It's so fun to have to like be like, these infect guys aren't coming at you. Please just let me hit you. Please, I need this. It's like I said, politics. I would say especially like out of everything, when we first started playing with Slothy was much quieter. Slothy was a much quieter person, and now Slothy's at the table politicsing with the best of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just he's making good deals. He's making great plays. Like the politics really they improve like what you can do with your deck, right? They bring it above and beyond just the cards in the deck.
Yeah, I've mentioned it a few times now, but there was the game at the Calgary event last year where I was able to politics the two other people into just taking Sherman out of the game because I knew he was a problem.
Sherman is a problem.
If you're able to kind of butter your words nicely, people will take Sherman out.
Yeah, right. The problem is people will take me out too. Sherman's good at convincing people I'm the problem. No matter how much I say I'm not.
He's playing Toxro. Don't care if he's playing nothing but group hug cards. He's playing Toxro. Just take him out.
I don't care if his Toxro deck is 40 lands, 45 mana rocks, and a couple other shapeshifters. It's Toxro. He will die.
I was just gonna say that's one of the angriest I've made people is I can't remember who I was. I think it was Sherman, Brady, Brian, and I was playing Toxro, and I kept trying to politics by saying, but I only have mana rocks, and it was making the table so mad. The whole that Toxrill deck it's just Toxrill rocks. Roxrill. I think it's really funny to play Toxrill that way. No one else shares my humor though. And I kept trying to make political deals by saying, don't worry guys, I'm not drawing my cards, it's only rocks. I lost that game to Sherman as well.
As you probably deserved to.
I did deserve, but it's I think that's one of the games that made people the angriest is when I had like 2 copies of Toxrill and I was like, but I only have rocks on the board. Oh, it was good.
Yeah, Brian scooped, Brady scooped. Brady was like, I'm not afraid of Toxro. Like, it takes me, like, attacks me and takes out one of my creatures. And I'm like, why is he doing this?
Yeah, he blew very early removal. Like, we're at 5 mana. I'm only playing mana rocks. We're at 5 mana available for me. And he starts using his, like, creature removal at Sherman. Sherman's like, what are you doing? Don't point that this way. It's I did love that. Toxro's not
afraid.
Yeah, Toxro's not a problem. And then 3 turns later, I refuse to play this game. I won't be a part of these shenanigans. Man, I really like Toxro, but there's not a fun way. That was I have 3 Toxro decks. One is all rocks. That's funny. And then I tried to build a group hug Toxro, and no one's ever had fun playing that one. It's all your Temple Bells. It's all your Howling Mine. It's a lot of like scheming symmetry. We both tutor. Like, I'm trying to make buddies, Wishclaw Talisman, but it's still Toxro. At the end of the day, I am still putting Toxro on the board. Uh-oh. Yeah. Sherman, what do you got for us?
So the last tip I have here for now, we'll see how the time is after, but it's basically building your deck where you focus on the floor of the card as opposed to the ceiling of the card. Now, you guys have heard us mention this many times, and for anyone that's listening that's not familiar with this, what is the ceiling and what is the floor? What the heck am I talking about? Or what the heck are we talking about? So, when you look at a card, it has the ceiling and the floor. So the ceiling is what it can do at its maximum potential.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what most people focus on when they're building a deck. Okay. For example, let's say, like, you ask someone, like, why do you have this card in? Oh, so this one time it won me the game. Okay. So I threw it in. Or it really works well with this when I have this card and and in these parameters and et cetera, et cetera. The problem with the ceiling or looking at cards for the value of the ceiling is that it normally implies you're winning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're playing a game with 3 other players. So your probability of winning right now is 25%. Why are you building a deck that's focused on the 25%? Focus on the floor. Floor is the worst case scenario. What can it do, if anything? Okay. If it can't do anything, it can't do anything. Fine. That's still the floor. Okay. This is what will probably be happening 75% of the time you're playing a game, because 75% of the time you are not winning. Okay. So, for example, let's look at Curse of the Swine. Okay. Curse of the Swine, what's the ceiling? I can take out 20 cards, and some of them are indestructible, and now they're 2/2s, and I'm laughing because it's hilarious and it's fun, and it gets rid of a lot of things. All right, cool. But that means that you have like 22 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it happens from time to time, but chances are that's not going to happen. What's the floor? It sits there in your hand and does nothing, because you're not going to Curse the Swine for 0 unless you're playing a Spell Slinger.
Curse of the Swine for 2.
Yeah. Right. So that's what you need to build around. It's the floor. It's like, okay, if it does nothing in my hand, okay, and I rarely play it after playing like the deck 6 times, and all 6 times it's been in my hand. I haven't played it. All right, let's switch it out for a card draw, so I can draw into something that is better. Okay, but don't have something like that in just because you're like, okay, this one time, okay, I wiped out 12 creatures, and all of them were indestructible because the person had Addison out. Right?
Yeah.
That's the one problem that a lot of people have, especially when they're first getting into playing Commander. They're always focused on the highest, the peak of what a card can do. Okay, I'm just telling you, stop doing that.
I've got a great example for it. It's a card I want to slot into decks a lot because I like tokens. I'm gonna pop this one up here quickly. It's Grave Titan. Grave Titan's sick. I love Grave Titan from an art standpoint, from a what it does standpoint. It's awesome. You got a 4 double black 6/6 death touching giant. It enters or attacks. You get 2 black zombies. So it's very easy to look at a card like that and be like, this is Zombie Town. What are we talking about? This is it. But if I'm playing into a removal heavy, like if I'm playing into a Sherman, into a Slothy, both of them tend to pack interaction, right? I might not even get this card off. So it's a card, because if this comes down and it's left alone, that's 10 power on the board for 6 mana. That's on its face, it sounds great, but it's likely to get countered in a lot of metas and stuff like that if it's enchantment heavy removal or creature heavy removal kind of meta, right? I might get my Grave Titan, but then I'm paying 6 mana for 2/2/2 zombies because it's going to get blown off the board before I get an attack, right? It's very, very easy to look at Grave Titan as big zombie daddy that's going to generate me tokens endlessly. But a lot of times when I'm playing stuff like that, I'm getting 2. I've kind of wasted my 6 mana because there's more efficient ways to get 2 tokens. There's more efficient ways to get 4 power across 2 bodies with 6 mana, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's you do have to, because like you said, if I know Sherman's just gonna blow this off the board, I'm not gonna just dump it out, right? Because then I'm wasting my mana. A lot of the Titans are the same, right? A lot of people worry about Prime Titan as an example for that, because of that difference of the floor and the ceiling. At its worst, yes, it's a 6/6 trampler that's going to fetch you 2 lands. That's a pretty good worst, but at its best, getting 2 lands every swing, that's where people try and assess, and that's why it's banned. It's banned on the ceiling of the card, not on the floor, because on the floor you can do easily that. You can get 2 mana at 6 like you can get 2 lands at 6 cost for green, no problem. You could do that all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like a lot of people, like you said, they do tend to just go balls to the wall on like what's the best this card can be. Mass manipulation is that for me. I've tried to put mass manipulation in decks so many times, and it's dead in my hand every time. I don't think I've ever cast it. And again, I tried to put it in my Toxrill deck and everything, and I thought it was gonna be funny, and I was gonna be like, oh, see, like your creatures aren't actually gonna die, and then I was gonna take them all. It'd be hilarious. But even in my Full of Rocks deck, it just sat in my hand because all the creatures were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you're not going to mass manipulation for 2.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, the floor and the ceiling of cards, especially in the card choice, is an important thing to consider, because yeah, like like again, if you only looked at Grave Titan from the ceiling, that would be in like every black deck, because it's so good. You know what I mean? 10 power, a Death Toucher, a 6/6 body, a token generator, like that goes into every Aristocrats kind of deck. That goes into every zombie. It's great, but that's only its ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's the floor? Well, the floor is, Grave Titan dies and you're left with a 2 token zombies, or you're playing against someone that is literally like has 6 board wipes in their deck,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna come out because they've only used 2 so far, and you saw another one in their hand. What's the point?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's exactly it. Then exactly, is it worth including a card that's going to give me 2 zombies at 6 mana?
Yeah. So, and once again, like I said, when you're focused on the highest potential a card can do, that's normally because you're in a winning position. Okay. Chances are you're not going to be in that winning position often.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because there's 3 other players. Most of the time, you're going to be in a losing position.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sometimes
Don't
you spend the whole
around that 20.
I was just going to say really quickly, I was going to say sometimes you spend the whole night threatening every player and you're not in the winning position because of it.
Yeah. So, and like I said before, don't build for that 25%. Build for that 75%. When you do that, your decks will go a long way. There's a reason why I am known for interaction. I build for that 75%. If I'm in the winning, like 25% of the time, part of it, then that means like I'm just like, my foot's on the gas pedal and I'm just, on the floor and I'm just going crazy because if my floor is really low, okay, like it does nothing, okay, but I'm winning. Now the ceiling's even crazier.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to the opposite, where like I'm basing everything off the ceiling, and then when it comes around to the floor, well, it's just a dead card.
Well, yeah, just to finish that point up, right? Like when you train for anything, you don't train like you're competing in a scenario that you're guaranteed to win. Otherwise, you wouldn't spend the time competing or training in it, right? Like if I'm training for a race, I'm not training from a place of I'm the fastest man to live in the world and no one can beat me. I'm training based on the fact that there's other people faster than me. I probably have to put that work in to beat them and stuff. I've got to get out and do the work, right? You always train and play like you're from behind. And then, like you said, exactly, what if you're in the winning seat and you have a deck that's meant to play from behind and you're ahead, then sky's the limit. Open highways. You can exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I like that point a ton. Slothy, what do you got for us?
All right, for my third one, I have been doing log lines for my decks. And kind of what that means is it's a short, usually around 1 sentence summary of like a film, movie, book.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, for example, after a simple jewelry heist goes terribly wrong, the surviving criminals begin to suspect that one of them is a police informant. That's the logline for Reservoir Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So, just kind of taking, and when I say that, I don't mean kind of do, oh, my deck revolves around playing dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really tell you what you wanted to do. Like, I want to spend the early turns ramping and then start casting dinosaurs, and by the late game, be beating people down.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you a more clear understanding of what you want to do, and I find that it helps you kind of, not in a negative way, but put the horse blinders on a little bit to kind of hone in on your strategy, what you want to do, and makes things more consistent.
I really like that idea as well. I also like it a lot for Rule Zero conversation, right? What does your deck do? I want you to be able to tell me what the plan is and stuff, right? It's exactly like you said. It's like if I'm playing something like Kenrith and stuff, this Kenrith deck is going to be based around everyone at the table having a good time. I'm going to use lots of early ramp to get there and give us lots of draw. That's a nice, easy, concise way to not only build my deck and keep it in those lines, but also tell people what to expect playing. Because there's nothing worse than me being like, oh yeah, it's like a Kenrith group hug deck, and then I'm dropping down like a Jinja Taxis, and you're like, well, what is this?
Where's the group hug?
Yeah, right. Like it's a nice way to like honestly with yourself keep it on theme, as well as like describe the deck, right? Because we should be describing the decks we're playing to each other, right? It's blind pick EDH is usually a little rough, right? That's where a lot of the feel bad moments come from.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really like that.
I think. Sorry?
I was going to say, I'm going to start writing that into the episode descriptions. I think I'm just going to take that idea and put it. I really, really like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it helps keep things concise, keeps you honest with yourself, keeps you honest with other players. And yeah, it doesn't have to be long, like 1 sentence, 2 sentences if you want, but something that you can stick to.
It's so helpful for that Rule Zero conversation. And if you understand as well, like I said, I'm just putting that into the decks we build from now on. I really like that idea because now you can understand like where someone's coming from and everything, right? I want this deck to do that. Here it is. This is the start and this is what the deck is. And then the same thing. This is what I built on. I like that idea a ton. You got any thoughts on that one, Sherman? Or
I like it in a way where like it at least kind of like directs you on to what your lines are for winning.
Mm-hmm.
So like you know what to focus on, how to your game plan is basically to start and how to achieve what your goal is. So it like I agree, like you know it's like putting on the blinders and you're like trying to go in that direction. And that should help a lot of people because they're like, okay, my deck should be doing this, but it's not doing this. Well, why is it not doing that? Okay. Oh, it's because like you threw in like these 12 cards that you were really, really, really funny. Okay. But the deck isn't a jank deck. You just like throwing them in because they cause problems for the rest of the table. Okay. So that means that your deck is not focused. So when you read that line again, when we read that log line, it's like, okay, I want to do this. All right, so these 10 or 12 cards don't achieve that for me. So let's remove them and then put something else in. Okay. Or if you really, really, really want to keep some, fine, keep some, but still, like your main goal should be what your deck is doing, right? So like, and we can break it down where it's like, okay, 33%, I don't agree with 33 lands, but still, 33% of your deck is lands, okay? You're going to have, let's say, 10 cards that are for interaction, okay? That's going to be 43, plus your commander, 44. Your mana rocks, let's say you threw in another, like 8 mana rocks, okay? So you're at 52. Then you have another 8 cards for card draw, so you're at 60. So you have 60 cards where it's like your commander, your lands, interaction, and card draw. That leaves 40 cards left. Okay, what are you going to do with those 40 cards?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to put in like all 40 cards for what your synopsis is, basically? Or are you going to deviate and be like, okay, 20 cards are going to be like the meat of it. They're going to follow this log line. And the other 20 is just going to be like nonsense fun. Like, which do you want to do, right? And if you find that it's not working, well, look back at your log line and be like, okay, I said this was what it's supposed to do. Is it doing it? No. Well, why is that? Well, it's because I put in too much silly stuff or things that don't make sense or whatnot. So let's reevaluate, remove all the cards. Once again, I have like the 60 cards that are your lands, interaction, blah, blah, blah. These are needed. The other 40 cards, what do they do? And you go from there. So, yeah, I do
exactly.
like it. I do like it quite a bit.
I like that one. And then I'll round us out with, I think, the easiest tip for everyone to apply today. And that is stop blowing your removal early. I see it in every game. Everyone, it's not, you know what I mean? But take your time, take it slow, romance the game a little bit. Don't see a card hit the tail. I path to exile. Just settle down. You know what I mean? There's I get you have untapped mana. You want to do that, but a lot of times I find that I don't play a lot of removal in more casual games. So I'm oftentimes the target of removal, and you can personally ruin the entirety of your game by targeting your removal at me when you didn't need to. Because I wasn't going to kill you with it. I wasn't going to do anything with it. You can just remove something way too early before it's a threat, and now you've drawn the ire of the table and stuff, right? It's very, very easy to, let's say that somebody casts an Ulamog. Ulamog's a scary creature, right? It's already been cast. Its cast trigger's there. The permanent's been destroyed. You don't need to path to exile it before it comes at you, right? You can sit there because, again, you're trying to kill the other players at the table, right? So if you're holding on to your removal and you're playing it right, like Sherman said earlier in the episode, right? It becomes a tool of conversation where you can politics around. I'm swinging an Ulamog at Slothy now, and Sherman can deal with it, but he's going to get an ally out of it rather than just irritating me. He's gotten an ally, and he's going to be able to do it, or he's going to be able to, I can't get rid of this enchantment. Can someone blow this up, and I'll get rid of that Ulamog. It's very, very easy to... It's very easy to turn what you're already trying to do into a more advantageous situation by waiting, by not just at the first sign of danger, essentially slamming the brakes on the game and being like, no, that has to die and stuff. Sometimes it does work that way. Sometimes you wanna prove a point, but I just find that a lot of players in their threat assessment instantly go to, I must use the resource I have available because I've got lands open, so why wouldn't I, right? And like I said, you're oftentimes one of my favorite stories of all time is Kaylin playing her Jetmir deck. And Kaylin's got 40 creatures on board and Jetmir. It's going pretty well for her. This is my wife. She's doing good, but she doesn't like to kill people. She likes to dirtle. She learned magic from me, right? And that. So Kaylin goes to cast a 23 mana Finale of Glory, and Brian countered it, and she's just like, what? And he's just like, yeah, I countered. And she's like, what does that mean? I was like, it means you don't get it. And she's like, can I kill him? And I was like, yeah. And so she just swung out and killed Brian with 600 damage or 400, whatever it was. It was a lot of damage. Jetmir is a problem. if you didn't counter that, Brian could have turned that into an advantageous situation and said like, hey, I can counter this, but I just don't swing those at me. Give me a few turns to try figure it out. Turn it towards the table. Kill Daniel. Leave that alone and kill Daniel. I would have died. Kaylin would have thought it was funny. And like, you know what I mean? She would have been in a better place. And Brian could have tried, again, he can make don't swing those creatures at me. I won't counter the spell. Easy deal to make. And you're not, again, it was insta death. It was the anaphylactic shock level death, just, you know, it was bad news bears. And I see a lot of people play in similar ways and stuff. And I used to do the same thing. I used to always like, just Doomblade the first thing that hit the board. I would return to dust whatever enchantments were available and stuff, right? When you blow your removal early and you don't, it's always going to do what's printed on the card, right? A Path to Exile is always going to exile a creature, but why not try to make that more impactful? Why not try to get more out of it? Get a deal, get a thing where it's actually you're saving yourself. And because again, if it's Ulamog and it hits Slothy one or two times, that's great. Slothy's closer to death. I'm closer to winning the game because of it. Why am I solving the problem of another player at no benefit to myself? Not only I'm solving a problem that's not currently affecting me, I'm also drawing the targeting of a player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it kind of reminds me along the same lines when you're playing against someone who's tutoring. Don't counter the tutor. Save it. Wait to see what the tutor gets. Counter that if you need to. Because there have been times where I've been sitting at a table and someone goes in vampiric tutors just for like a Llanowar Elves. or something like that. Like it was something stupid and got countered. And I was like, "What do you? I need mana. I was getting a dork."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, and then if you counter the tutor, the thing that they were looking for is still in their deck.
Yep,
there's still potential to get it. People don't usually just run one tutor.
Well, like you were saying, right? You can also just ask, what are you going to get? I have a counterspell. Now they know, like, hey, okay, well, if I go get something, and again, I might say, I'm not telling you. And you could say, all right, well, then I'm going to counter it. All right, you can parlay that counterspell into knowledge, or you can, like you said, I tutor for stupid stuff all the time. It's always like I got a template discovery or something.
Yeah,
like it's I always tutor into dumb things, or like a path, like a temple bell, or like a howling mine. Like I tutor for those things because that's what I like on the board. I think they're fun. I think they're neat. But yeah, like you said, when you counter the tutor, now you don't have any knowledge of what they were like tutoring countering what I tutored for. Sorry, you have the knowledge of where I needed to go with my game. Now you know that my win path is going to be, all right, well, Daniel needed that Crater Hoof, right? That was his game ender. And if he was tutoring for that, I think he might be out of the game for a few turns. He doesn't really have a way forward without that overrun and stuff. Maybe he has a Moonshaker Cavalry and stuff, and you can do that threat assessment later. But what's the chance he's also holding that, right? What's the chance he's going to top deck it? Probably not great.
Yes, especially if he's searching for the Crater Hoof. You kind of can glean that he doesn't have the Moonshaker.
Yeah. And that,
or something like that.
And that's exactly it, right? Like you're setting it back, you're turning that piece, like I said, it still says counter target spell, but you're getting more from it. You're getting information, you're getting a friend. You're again, now that you've countered my quote unquote Crater Hoof here, now you've also saved the table from dying, right? You've given people more turns, people are more willing to work with you, people are more willing to now understand, oh, well, Daniel's trying to kill us, like he's obviously got to go. This guy's out of his mind, right? It's like I said, the blowing of removal early and the solving of problems without trying to benefit from it is often one of the things I think is the easiest. It's super easy to change, and it's going to make you a better player to say, like, I can deal with the Sherman's notorious for it. It's how Sherman politics. It's I can do this. What will you give me to not, or what will you do for me if I get rid of this and stuff? And again, it's why Sherman's like one of the better political players, right? He, like, you you kind of have to be when you play like a budget kind of thing, but those answers come from those questions. It comes from not just blindly removing things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like the thing is like we've already mentioned, like why waste resources when you use someone else's as a resource, right? So someone else should be your resource every single time. That should be your very first option. Okay. Can someone else do this? Can you delegate the work to someone else? If not, okay. Is it really is it a really big problem for you? Does it shut your deck down? If it shuts your deck down, okay, fine. I can understand why you would want to waste your removal right away. Because if it shuts you down, then you're not playing. I totally understand. Okay. However, once again, if it's early in the game, let it stew, let it sit. Have the tension there. Keep the tension on the board. Okay. Because if it's affecting you, it's probably affecting the other players as well. Okay. So like Daniel said, the person's on the radar. Okay. They are a potential threat. You can either remove that permanent right now and make it so that everyone's basically on even footing again, or you can let that person build himself up and become the threat and literally have all three people going after that one person again. Sometimes it's hard to beat the person that's the kingmaker. Okay. Like if they're just beating all three of you down without a worry or a care. All right. It's a hard fought battle. I get it. But most of the time, if everyone's built correctly and everyone talks to each other and everyone threat assess, kind of fairly competently, then just let it ride. Let it sit there. Let them build up and then have everyone else be like, okay, I think we need to do something now because they're a little bit too much of a threat and we need to come together and beat down on this one person to the point where they're dead and then we don't have to worry anymore. So I agree. Just keep the tension there, don't waste your removal. Focus on, building up your board state. Okay. Keeping answers in your hand, sandbag a little bit if need be, and just go from there. So.
Yeah. No, I like all these tips. I think that there's definitely value in basically every one of these and stuff. I should I'll probably give like a summary of the breakdown of the points in the show notes there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really think that every one of these is going to be. It's also a nice insight into how my buddies are looking at the game and stuff, and how they're doing things. And maybe it's a conversation with your play group too. Like, what do you think made you a better player? Because you're going to see again different things that you weren't seeing before of ways that you can. Like, okay, well, I know that Daniel is a big politics player, so this is going to not only help me in my games now, but it's also maybe going to get me to work on my politics. I'm gonna be able to befriend him more. He's not going to threaten me as much in games. It'll be nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay, I'm good there. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on it? Or are we happy?
Well, hi.
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. I think the game is just always fun, right? You're always going to keep learning. You're always going to keep growing at the game, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's so many tips that we could give everyone that we personally have done and have helped us improve. But if we did that, we'd be here for 6 hours. Let's face it.
True.
There's just too many things to talk about. Yeah.
That's the fun thing about the game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, then I roll our outro. I'm very happy, and it was very nice to be able to do this, you guys. Let me, bam. Thank you guys for getting through this and stuff. I want to know what other people think is the what do you? I want to know your own thoughts of what made you a better player and stuff. Hit us up in the comments and Instagram and everything. If you like what we do, like, share, subscribe. It really, really does help out. It makes people see the channel more. It inspires us to make more stuff. It increases our reach. We can do more, talk more. So So really, I appreciate everyone who does that, everyone who comments, everyone who's rated it. It's been a very, very nice thing. If you want to support us above and beyond that, go to Patreon. It's a very cool place. We're going to be, like I said, setting up spell table games. So if you want to whoop me, if you want to come teach me through fire the reason that you put more than 33 lands and an instant in a deck, come do it, because I'll be getting the spell table game set up very soon. So I'm really looking forward to playing with people that already support us on Patreon. And yeah, it's a great spot to come build decks. We have awesome patrons, and I really enjoy interacting with them. So come over there. If you like what you're seeing, then yeah, like, tell your friends. It's a nice thing. Like I said, the reach, it really is good when you share it. Above and beyond, we didn't talk about any cards really in this episode, but if you want some cards, go to houseofcards.ca, promo code IT99. You're going to get a very, very good discount on things. They're fast shipping, a great company, supports us, it helps you get a discount. It's win-win for everyone, and they are just wonderful people to work with and interact with. So I do really, really enjoy them as a company. They've been great at every event. They've been great at every list I've sent. So go check them out again, houseofcards.ca. And last but not least, I like to put these sleeves in, these AI armor sleeves. They're just the best. There's no way around it. That's it. I yapped too long.
All right. Laters.
See ya.
Bye-bye.